Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine you finally bought that dream piece of land.
Hmm.
Maybe it's, a few acres for later or just a quiet spot. No house, no barn, just open space.
Right.
You might think, great, no structure, so
Yes.
no need for insurance. Okay.
Exactly.
And
That's the common thought.
well, today we're taking a deep dive into something you might not have considered, but absolutely should. Vacant land insurance.
Yeah.
Our mission to kind of pull back the curtain on what it is, why it's so crucial, and how it protects you, the landowner, from some genuinely surprising risks. Risks that could, well, turn that dream into a real financial headache.
It's so easy to think an empty plot is, consequence-free, but that's precisely where the real deep dive begins, doesn't it?
It seems so.
Many people just mistakenly assume no buildings, no problems. But that's a significant oversight, really, with potentially serious repercussions down the line.
Right.
So we're going to connect the dots today, showing you how understanding this specific type of coverage is pretty fundamental to protecting your assets and, ultimately, just your peace of mind.
Right. Peace of mind is key. So let's start right at the beginning, because even the definition of vacant land can be, well, surprisingly tricky.
It really can.
A quick online search shows different takes, and even like lenders and insurance companies don't always use the same language.
Hmm.
So for our purposes today, when we talk about vacant land, we're sort of using land and a lot interchangeably.
Okay, got it. Makes sense.
We're talking about any undeveloped piece of land, whatever the size, that is mostly free of permanent, regularly used structures or big improvements.
It's predominantly empty, basically.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really nuanced and interesting, I think. What if there's some structures?
Ah,
We're not talking about a house, but maybe an old rundown shed way back in the woods,
for
or a little boat dock on a pond.
like a rustic cabin, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah. Or even a rustic, seldom used cabin that's definitely not a permanent home.
Hmm.
Lots of standard insurance policies might look at these things, even minor ones, and immediately say, nope, your property is out of the simple vacant land category.
Right.
So why does just having an old barn or a rickety tree stand make things so complicated for insurers?
That's a really critical point, and it's where a lot of landowners get caught off guard, honestly.
Okay.
Most general insurers see structures, even really minor ones, as just an increased liability risk.
Because someone could get hurt.
Exactly. Think about it. An old barn, it could collapse, right?
Yeah.
Injuring someone. Or maybe there's a forgotten well hidden near that shed,
Oh, wow.
and it attracts kids, maybe.
Yeah.
Or even a partially built fence could be a tripping hazard. These all introduce elements like what's called attractive nuisance.
Right, I've heard that term.
Yeah, it's something on your property that could draw people in, especially kids, and cause harm, even if they're trespassing. Standard policies often just aren't set up to assess or, frankly, price these specific, often unique risks that come with unused structures on otherwise undeveloped land.
So finding coverage gets harder then.
It does. Finding comprehensive liability coverage for land with, say, an uninhabitable old shed or maybe a camper you park there sometimes, that can be a real challenge with typical providers.
Okay.
However, there are specialized programs out there, like the one offered by the American Hunting Lease Association, AHLA. They're designed precisely for these kinds of scenarios.
Interesting.
They really understand that not every structure makes a property developed in the practical sense.
Yeah.
Their definition for liability insurance is pretty flexible.
How so?
Basically, any size piece of land that's predominantly empty with no structures like homes, barns, or boathouses being regularly used as, permanent residences.
So occasional use is okay, like a hunting blind.
Exactly. That means your old hunting blind or even that camper you use occasionally can often be covered under their program. It really highlights how specialized knowledge is key here, when the general policies just don't quite fit.
That's really useful. And you don't actually have to allow hunting to use this AHLA program.
Critically, no, that's a common misconception. You don't need to allow hunting on your property to qualify. The HLA program is simply there to protect landowners from claims by guests or even trespassers, regardless of how the land is actually used.
Okay, that clarifies a lot. So if the definition isn't just no buildings, that really begs the question, what are the real risks we're talking about here? Why do I genuinely need this type of insurance? Because for many people, empty land just feels inherently safe, What's the single biggest overlooked risk landowners face with undeveloped property?
It's true that many assume the risks are minimal, especially on an undeveloped plot. But the reality is accidents absolutely do happen. And the liability implications, they can be severe. It's not just about the obvious hazards either. It's often about the unexpected.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, imagine maybe a casual hiker on your land. They're just admiring the view, and they stumble on an unmarked, washed-out ditch and boom, break an ankle.
Ouch. Okay.
Or even more surprisingly, maybe a trespasser on your land claims there's environmental contamination from some old, forgotten dump site you didn't even know was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You, as the landowner, could be held responsible for medical bills, for legal defense costs, and potentially really large settlements.
That sounds expensive.
It is. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's fundamentally about robust asset protection. It's just like your homeowner's insurance protects you from accidents on your developed property, right?
Yeah.
Vacant land insurance acts as that same kind of shield, but for your undeveloped land. The Insurance Information Institute, they noted that the average claim for bodily injury and property damage, I think it was between 2014 and 2018, was over $26,870.
Over $26,000 average.
Average. Yeah, that number isn't just a statistic. It's a potential financial crater in your life. It really illustrates why this coverage isn't just, important, but truly essential for pretty much every property owner.
Definitely.
And those claims can easily escalate too, tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars if there's a serious injury or extensive property damage involved.
That is a really stark reminder of what's at stake. Okay, so beyond just getting the insurance policy, what can you as a landowner actively do to maybe reduce your risk of a lawsuit in the first place?
That's a great question.
Because even with coverage, avoiding the claim altogether is always the best plan.
Absolutely.
Best case scenario.
It sounds like it's more than just slapping up a no trespassing sign.
Oh, much more.
What makes a property look inviting to a trespasser, maybe?
Right.
And how can we signal, active ownership more effectively? You're absolutely right. A sign is really just a starting point. Signaling active ownership, that's key. Land that appears neglected, maybe with overgrown pastures or unkempt borders or old rusting equipment lying around it, often looks abandoned.
Yeah, I can see that.
And that can inadvertently invite trespassers or vandals or even people looking to just dump their trash, which increases your exposure to liability.
Right. So what do you do?
So proactively making your property appear well-maintained is important. Things like mowing pastures occasionally, trimming overgrown areas near boundaries, or clearly marking your property lines, that sends a strong message.
Okay.
It signals that someone cares for and actively monitors the land, making it less attractive for, illicit activities.
So it's kind of about creating a visual deterrent, basically.
Exactly.
And I imagine knowing your neighbors could help too, like an extra set of eyes, adding another layer of sort of passive security.
Knowing your neighbors is a huge asset.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But what about understanding those state-specific trespassing laws you mentioned? Are they really that different from place to place? And why does that matter so much for liability?
Yes, they vary significantly, which is crucial. In some states, landowners actually have more protection against liability from trespassers. But in others, particularly when it comes to children or those attractive nuisances we talked about,
Right.
your responsibility can be quite broad. For instance, if you injure a trespasser, even if they were on your property illegally, you could still be held responsible if your actions were seen as negligent or, say, excessively forceful.
Okay.
Understanding those local nuances helps you navigate your responsibilities and just avoid inadvertently increasing your risks.
Right.
It's not just about potential fines or jail time for the trespassers themselves, but it's really about your own potential legal exposure.
That makes sense.
And beyond those visible cues and the legal stuff, a really crucial strategy for limiting liability claims is simply making sure your property is free from significant hazard.
Okay, removing hazards.
Yeah.
This is where that concept of attractive nuisance becomes very tangible. Think about things like unmarked or maybe poorly covered wells or cisterns. Someone could easily fall in, especially a child.
Definitely dangerous.
Or large dead trees that look like they could topple in a storm.
House?
Washed out ditches that are hard to see and could cause a serious fall. Even old, unsafe tree stands left on the property, those become a potential trap.
And it's not just about trespassers or even guests you invite, is it?
No, not at all.
We often forget about, like, official people who might need to access the land for legitimate reasons.
Exactly. That's a really important point. It extends to anyone who might legitimately need to access your land. Police officers, utility maintenance workers, maybe conservation officers, even emergency responders.
Right.
If they get injured due to a hazard on your property, you could face a claim.
So what if you have a hazard you really can't easily remove, like, I don't know, a natural cliff face or a really steep embankment? What proactive steps can a landowner take then?
That's a good scenario. If you have unremovable hazards like cliffs or steep slopes, the key is to clearly mark them and, if possible, physically secure the area.
Like fencing.
Robust fencing is great, clear warning signs, maybe even in multiple languages depending on your area, or even using natural barriers like dense shrubs to help delineate those dangerous zones.
Okay.
And also documenting these efforts, taking photos, keeping logs of your maintenance and warnings that can also be vital in your defense if a claim ever does arise. It all comes back to demonstrating that you're being a responsible land steward.
That's incredibly practical advice. Really good stuff. So now that we kind of understand the why and the what to do, let's talk about the how.
Okay.
The mechanics. Yeah. Does my existing homeowner's insurance policy cover this vacant land? Or do I definitely need a separate policy? And, the big question for many, can I even afford it? Is it expensive?
That's usually the first question people ask, right? The cost and the coverage.
Absolutely.
So the short answer to whether your homeowner's policy covers it is maybe, but, and this is a big but, with significant caveats.
Okay. What kind of caveats?
Well, some homeowners insurance providers might offer an extension or an endorsement, especially if the vacant land is right next door, adjacent to your home, or relatively close by.
So proximity matters.
It often does. It's always worth asking your agent specifically about it. However, this often comes with limitations. The coverage amount might be lower, or it might not apply if the land isn't directly connected, or if it's used for things beyond just basic recreation tied to your home.
So it sounds like a homeowner's policy might cover the bare minimum, maybe, if the land is practically in your backyard.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But for land that's maybe a bit further away or perhaps used for more specific purposes, like maybe timber management or future development, are specialized policies genuinely better equipped?
Yes.
What are the advantages of looking beyond just your regular insurance agent?
Absolutely. The main downside of trying to rely on traditional homeowners policies for vacant land is often just a lack of specific expertise from general agents. They might not fully grasp the unique risks associated with rural or undeveloped land,
Right.
nor the specialized needs of landowners who might allow activities like hiking, camping, or even, yes, hunting. This is exactly where specialized providers shine.
Like the HOA you mentioned earlier.
Precisely. Companies like the American Hunting Lease Association, they specialize in this exact area. They have a really deep understanding of the risks, the liability nuances involved, and they can offer tailored policies that truly protect you.
So you get expert service too.
You get expert service and the confidence that you're actually properly covered for those specific vacant land risks. And just to clarify again, because it's important,
Yeah.
you don't need to allow hunting to purchase this type of specialized vacant land insurance from them. Their focus has broadened quite a bit to include landowners who just want to enjoy private land access for any number of reasons.
That makes perfect sense. Specialized knowledge for a specialized asset, right?
Exactly.
Okay, now let's talk numbers. Because the perceived cost is often a huge barrier for people.
It really is.
What's the cost of this crucial peace of mind? Are we talking big bucks here?
It's a significant concern for many, yeah. People often fear high premiums. But here's the surprising truth, honestly. Vacant land insurance is remarkably affordable. Often, it's kind of a no-brainer when you weigh it against the alternative cost of even one potential lawsuit.
Okay, give me some figures. What's typical?
To give you an idea, coverage can start at just $225 annually. That's for up to 750 acres in many cases.
$225 a year for 750 acres.
Yep. And for properties over that, over 750 acres, it's typically a mere 0.30 cents per additional acre.
30 cents an acre. That's surprisingly low.
It really is. When you compare this to almost any other type of insurance premium, or even just common monthly expenses like coffee or streaming services, it's truly not expensive at all.
Yeah.
A typical policy, say for $1 million or $2 million in liability coverage, will generally range from about $27 to maybe $50 per month. Depends on factors like the state it's in, the exact acreage, things like that.
$27 to $50 a month.
Yeah. For the cost of, a few coffees or a single streaming subscription, you can secure really robust protection against potentially ruinous claims.
That puts it in perspective.
And good policies, like those from specialized providers, they should also include valuable extras. Things like access to a custom liability waiver you can use for guests.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guidance on how to avoid claims through safety improvements, and maybe even some free no trespassing signs to help you implement those proactive steps we discussed earlier.
So it's more than just the policy itself.
Exactly. It's often a comprehensive package, not just some bare bones policy.
It truly sounds like a small price to pay for such a significant peace of mind.
Mm.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does all of this mean for you, the listener, the landowner? Owning a piece of land, whether it's that dream property or maybe a strategic investment, it really is a privilege, right? Something to be celebrated and enjoyed.
Absolutely.
But with that ownership comes this vital layer of responsibility we've been talking about, protecting yourself and your assets from unforeseen accidents.
Mm.
It isn't just smart, it's absolutely essential for truly enjoying your piece of the earth without that constant worry of potential liability just lurking, threatening to turn your dream into a nightmare.
Well said. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really is about far more than just buying an insurance policy. It's about enabling truly responsible land stewardship.
Right. Stewardship.
It's about transforming land ownership from just a passive investment into an actively managed asset, ensuring its potential is safeguarded, maybe even for generations to come.
Mm.
And this raises, I think, an important question for you, the listener, to consider. How can you move beyond simply owning the land to truly mastering its stewardship, ensuring that your dream doesn't just endure, but actually flourishes, free from that shadow of unexpected liability?
That's a fantastic thought to mull over. Mastering stewardship, I like that. We really hope this deep dive has armed you with the knowledge and maybe the confidence to protect your vacant land affordably, responsibly, and with a much clearer understanding of those sometimes subtle risks that can lurk just beneath the surface.